Tonight on The Factor Uncensored, when the vulnerable gets taken advantage of, a woman says she caught a man on camera inside of a senior care facility getting naked and preparing to sexually violate her mother, who is a resident there. That's on the way tonight. But first, perks of members of Congress are rolled back at one airline. We'll talk about it tonight.
Isiah Factor Uncensored starts now.
Welcome and thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. We begin with changes at Delta Airlines. The company is pulling back on perks for members of Congress. The company says that it has suspended specialty services for members of Congress. The service traditionally allowed them to be escorted and skip the line. This is just part of the privileged perks package reserved for Congress members that puts the Amex Platinum card to shame. And here's what they stack up with on the job in D.C. Members of Congress are voted in by the people, and it's with that authority they take care of the people's legislative business. But the job comes with what some describe as perks. Or is it simply the cost of doing business? Here's a look at some on the list. 72% off or subsidized health care, 200 days off, Capital Subway System, lapel pin that helps them bypass security and the line, 1 year's salary in death benefits for their survivors, subsidized gym, private elevator, free parking, private dining rooms and tennis courts, elite travel benefits, signature on mail in lieu of postage, and legal immunity unless it's treason, felony, or breach of trust. And, of course, there's our Harris County Judge, Lina Hidalgo. She is not a member of Congress, but she did get some rodeo perks that pissed a lot of people off royally. Joining us to talk about it here on The Factor Uncensored tonight, and this is just not about Congress, but all elected officials. We have with us attorney Nyanza Moore and Jolanda Jones, Ivan Sanchez, and Dr. Tim Waugh. Glad to have you all on The Factor Uncensored. So, Nyanza, when you hear Delta Airlines is taking the position they're taking with Congress, first of all, do you think it's because, obviously the lines are long, but do you think it's more than just the lines? Is it sending them a message? Get things straight here.
It's definitely sending them a message because just a week ago, both the Delta and United CEOs came out and made statements how Congress needed to fund the TSA agents and get them back to work. And then when they didn't do that, only now are the congressmen and senators suffering because the perks are gone. The days of entitlement and privilege are gone. They put on their pants one leg at a time, just like everyone else does. They didn't earn the perks. They didn't deserve the perks. And when you're not paying the very people that keep us secure in our airways, you don't deserve the perks. So Delta did the right thing. Once upon a time, Delta was considered don't ever leave the airport, Delta, because you'll sit on the tarmac. Now I'm going to have to figure out a way to get my Delta cards because that seems like the company I want to do business with. If they're concerned about the consumer more than a congressman, that's exactly the type of leadership that we need.
All right, Ivan, you have a different perspective because you worked in Congress with leaders there. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, if you are a member of Congress and you're heading to the beach, you need to stand in line like the rest of us, period.
Why are you picking on Ted Cruz?
Cancun Cruz doesn't need a fast pass to a margarita. But yes, I worked for a senior member of Congress and freshman members of Congress. But let me tell you, some of these folks, when they're all over national headlines, they get a lot of death threats. So we're talking about logistics. We're not talking about super luxury or anything like that. So I would say for some individuals, if it has to do with national business, they got to go vote, or any official United States business, yeah, there could be a little perks, not luxury, but it shouldn't be just for any occasion. That's what I would say. All right,
Jolanda Jones, state representative, let's bring you in with that perk of a $7,000 salary that you get from the state of Texas.
Baby, can you say that number one more again?
$7,200 for the year.
Right, so we don't get perks like that, but the benefits that I get at the airline are for frequent flyer miles, right? So if I fly enough, then I get a certain level, and I get to, board first.
And that's,
or
of course,
like
you earn those.
But I earn those. But here's the real deal. When we're flying back and forth, so during the session, I'm flying from Houston to Austin, and I have to get to votes. And if there's a really long line, then I literally could miss a vote that could help Texans. And so I agree with Ivan that if I'm going there to do the business of what the people that elected me to do, I should be able to do that. But I'm not in Congress. I didn't know they got all those things that they got. Damn, wish I would have won that race. Because I didn't know they did that, because I have to do stuff just like everybody else. So, I mean, I just think that if people elect you, is that a reason for you to be able to have perks? I don't know, but certainly with this TSA, and why are you getting mad at Congress people? It appears to me that Trump is trying to hold hostage TSA and other government agencies to fund like wars that are wars of convenience and wars of choice. And so if that is the choice that Congress people have, why is it their fault that TSA isn't funded? They really should be mad at Trump and get him out of office.
All right, Dr. Waugh, we want to hear from you. Your thoughts about this?
So for the most part, this is an opportunity for Congress and everybody else to look at, especially with people that, we're in this together. But by the simple fact that because Delta started this, now you have Congress actually trying to follow suit. So with them trying to put this bill in, it passed in the Senate, now you're going into the House. The reality is that you got all of these opportunities that are now being exposed of this red carpet, action that congressional members did have or do have, and now it's an exposure of, okay, well, let's take this away and let's offer you the buddy system of you got to stand in line just like everybody else. So it keeps everybody, in a sense, I would say accountable, because now as a congressional member, you got to get the work done. So you're just like everybody else. So come on in, stand in this line, and listen to our complaints.
All right, Nancy, looking at that list from Congress that we brought up, are you surprised that anything on there justly deserved? Do they need it? From your perspective?
So a lot of times when there is a vote, a lot of members don't even go back to cast a vote. So that's number one. So rushing to say we have to get back, that's one thing, but this is not the case here. The very agents that are not getting paid and have not been paid since mid-February are starving. What are you going to tell them when they show up for work at 5 a.m. to check in 5,000 people, and you have a congressman who voted to deny them their paycheck that says they want to skip the line? It's the same way when Judge Lina Hidalgo, the county judge, went down to Megan Mulroney's concert and thought that the $9,000 worth of already shoot tickets that she had gotten for her people, her friends and her family, for the other 3 prior concerts wasn't enough. She decided to choose a sold-out Megan Mulroney concert where the shoot tickets were $525 each. She's making $190,000 estimated per year. She doesn't have children of her own. So my point is this: if you making that much money, almost $200,000 a year, then why can't you just pay $525 just like the plumber, just like the dishwasher, or just like the people who work very hard for their money, especially in this strangling economy? I have zero empathy for Lina Hidalgo, because when you have so much entitlement that you believe that after you were advised by the president and all the handlers at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo that there were no more seats available, and they told her emphatically there were no more shoot seats available, but she walked down anyway. That's just entitlement. I don't think she should resign or be fired. I just think she should be sat down.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor. On that note, still ahead, could some Gen Zers be making the decision to pass up home ownership? But first, a quadruple amputee accused of murdering his friend. We'll tell you what happened in court and have the latest details on this case that's making national headlines in 90 seconds. Don't go anywhere.
To hold a weapon, you need 2 hands, because the size of the weapon I saw was a 9mm. It takes 2 hands to hold a 9mm.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering how you would do it.
Welcome back to the Factor Uncensored. A murder investigation with a quadruple amputee as a suspect has left many with questions out there. Dayton Weber is accused of shooting and killing his childhood friend, Bradrick Wells. The two were in the car together Sunday night, according to police. Weber reportedly in the driver's seat when an argument broke out and shots were fired. Wells' body was found dumped early Monday morning in Maryland. Detectives tracked Weber's car to Charlottesville, Virginia, where he was arrested. Let's bring in defense attorney Bioji Akingbola to talk about this, as both prosecutor and criminal defense attorney. You know what people are wondering. You know what people are asking about this. How did he shoot somebody?
Look, as a defense attorney, I'll be remiss not to say if he's a quadruple amputee,
right,
then he's not guilty.
There you go.
But that having been said, you know, with respect to the facts of this case, it appears that there were actually some eyewitnesses. So I think prosecutors can certainly gain the upper hand in presenting those eyewitnesses, you know, to provide evidence of him actually committing this offense. Mm-hmm. He was actually charged with first-degree and second-degree murder in Maryland. And kind of different from how we have the laws of murder here in Texas. In Maryland, for you to be charged and convicted of first-degree murder, they have to prove not only that the act was intentional, but premeditated, which seems to be a stretch considering that, by all accounts, this happened in the heat of an argument.
Right.
Which leads to second-degree murder, which is intentional, but not premeditated. In other words, it happened in that moment you formed the idea to commit that murderous act. I think the obvious hurdle that prosecutors are going to have to overcome is the mechanics of this crime.
Right.
Because not only is he a quadruple amputee accused of pulling the trigger of a firearm, but apparently this happened while he was driving. And so I'm trying to envision that. I know we just saw videos of him using a gun, but it still remains to be seen how did he do that while driving.
Could there be a special type of gun that was created especially for him or something?
I mean, I guess we're going to have to see the evidence on that, you know.
Prosecutors haven't spelled that out yet in any of the court documents.
No, prosecutors haven't spelled that out. You know, if I was the defense attorney on that case, my first question is to the officers, did you dust for fingerprints? Because if there's no fingerprints, then you know he's innocent. But that having been said, even if they were able to prove the mechanics of this case, right, I still think defense has an opportunity to then talk about self-defense in a case like this. Because, again, we heard that this happened in the heat of an argument. And it kind of reminds me of the case involving the double amputee in South Africa, the racer.
Yes, I remember that. And
the defense that he raised is because he's a double amputee that he's more prone to acts of violence, that he's more vulnerable to violent acts. And I think that's something that could be raised here, that this is a man who's a quadruple amputee. He's in the heat of an argument. He obviously doesn't have the same means to protect himself, and so therefore the threat of serious bodily injury and the risk of death is heightened in his case. So they could certainly argue self-defense if they can even get around the fact that he's literally unarmed. Shout out to Emily Mitchell, that was her joke. So.
God. Oh my God, Bioji. All right. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Still ahead tonight, an investigation underway at a senior living facility after a volunteer is accused of sexually assaulting an Alzheimer's patient. We'll talk about it next.
This program is being brought to you by Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer.
Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. A volunteer at an elder care facility in California has been charged with raping a 61-year-old patient with Alzheimer's. Jonathan Michael Alvarado can be seen on video in the patient's room, getting naked and later throwing away a condom. According to reports, he was a volunteer piano player for residents. The patient's daughter, Camlyn Anderson, had previously installed cameras inside of her mother's room. Smart move. She says she called the police after seeing Alvarado in her mother's room and taking his clothes off. Just
Are you okay? Everything okay? Yeah? Who's the guy who was here? Think about it, Mama, and slow, so you can tell me.
Do you know what happened? She's like, no. Okay, did you want to have sex, Mom? No. No.
It's horrible. The patient's family is now suing the senior living facility. Joining us to talk about it, Erica Crossley, a senior care professional and owner of A1 Perfect Fit, attorney Emily Mitchell, and Banke Awuptu, a comedian and author whose mother is receiving care from a facility. So, Banke, when I thought about this segment, I say, let's get you for this segment because you know what it's like to have an aging mother, and many of us do, but I thought about you. What is it like seeing something like that?
Well, my perspective is a little different because my mother is very active, okay? She pee-popping on the headstand, you know? So if I had seen that video, I would have known it was consensual. I would have been high-fiving her, right? But the fact that they had cameras, like you said, that's a smart move. I know in Texas, in the facility where my mother is, they will have a sign saying that recordings are in process. So that's a way to let all the staff know, don't F around and find out with this particular resident, right? Maybe the statute is different in California because if she has the Ring camera, the staff, the volunteer, everybody should have known that ahead of time, and that would have been preventative from stopping this from happening if it indeed was not consensual.
And Erica, this brings up the question about volunteers and vetting them. And you know, you never know what people are going to do, even if they have a clean background. They could just strike.
Correct, but she was also in independent living. She wasn't in a nursing home. She wasn't in a memory care. And so the question is, how did someone who has dementia or Alzheimer's so far that she can have sex and forget end up in an independent living community where, like you said, they pee-pop on a handstand. Independent living is for you living your best life. It's resort style, it's amenities, it's like a cruise ship that's just on land. So how does one who has memory care issues of that caliber live independently?
Right. And that brings Emily, a lawsuit.
Indeed.
Very actionable here, right?
A very big lawsuit. There are a number of issues here. Number one, we have the issue of what kind of background check was performed. Number two, we have the issue of what kind of steps did the facility put in place to make sure that an unaccompanied male could not access a female resident's room? That's a big issue. The facility has a big problem on its hands with respect to this particular case, because don't forget about the issue of consent. When you have a particularly vulnerable plaintiff, as we have here, and we have a facility that's in charge, that basically has the legal charge to take care of and protect this patient from the very thing that happened to her, we have a big problem legally.
But kinda, in a way.
And my question is, though, is there like a guardianship question if this is independent living?
Correct. And that's an excellent question, because once again, independent living means you have a key to get in and out of is an apartment. So that's like someone coming to visit you at your apartment, and then you're asking for security to be implemented and safety. I get that, but like what happens behind closed doors is between adults, and it goes down in senior living. 61-year-old, she's still young.
Right.
So, and even though she could have early onset Alzheimer's, that doesn't mean that her body doesn't still want certain things. So it's just a really good conversation to be had.
Creeping me out right now.
It happens. You know, independent living living has the highest STD rates
Yes,
of
we
all.
do know that. All right. Bunke, your thoughts about this from Erica's perspective and the facts that she's bringing up.
I mean, of course, seeing it and just hearing the facts is horrifying. It scares you, right? But the fact of the matter is independent living is exactly what it says, independent living. And I know that my mother, again, if she were in this situation, I guess the question really is somebody who has Alzheimer's or dementia, can they consent to sex?
Exactly.
Can they consent to sex?
And if it's early onset, right?
Yeah.
Because, again, I know Vera Bell would be happy, okay?
Vera something else.
Yeah, she is.
All right, and Emily, answer that. I mean, is there a question about that, consent, when we talk about someone who may have Alzheimer's and not have all of their faculties there?
Absolutely. And when you're talking about an issue with a person who has Alzheimer's, there are periods of lucidity where that person can consent. Where the question turns for me is she going to have a period of lucidity where she can remember that she did in fact consent earlier? So both sides are going to need to, are going to have to weigh that and see where that comes out, because she can absolutely consent if she has periods of lucidity, but what happens if she can or cannot later on?
And even with Alzheimer's, you know, it changes. Your brain degenerates, right? And so your behavior does the same thing. So one moment she cannot want sex, and the next moment she can want a lot of sex. And that happens for both sides.
Really quick, wrap us up. 10 seconds.
Take it back. I recant everything I said, because if that happens to my mother, I'm suing too, and I hope they get paid.
There you go. There you go. Thank you guys for joining us. Still ahead tonight on The Factor, a dangerous substance found in the packaging of a popular toy. We'll have the details ahead. Stay with us. Welcome back to The Factor. Police in Missouri are trying to figure out how fentanyl was put in the packaging of Barbie dolls on the shelves at a discount store. Now, investigators found the suspicious powder taped inside the back packaging. The store, called Cargo Largo, posting on social media saying test results revealed it was cocaine mixed with trace amounts of fentanyl. The store says it identified where the dolls came from, adding all the dolls that were sold were recovered by investigators. Now to a Factor follow-up. A New Mexico jury found Meta guilty of harming children on its social media platforms Facebook and Instagram. It's also imposing a $375 million penalty. Prosecutors argue the company prioritized profits over the safety of children. Jurors decided Meta violated Arizona state consumer protection laws by failing to disclose the risk its platform posed to children's mental health. The landmark decision comes after a nearly 7-week trial and opens the door for thousands of lawsuits. Is a house with a yard and white picket fence no longer the American dream? Still ahead tonight, we talk about Gen Z who may be moving away from home ownership. Keep it here.
You're watching the Isiah Factor Uncensored.
All right, welcome and thank you for joining us for the second half hour of The Factor Uncensored. Could the perspective on home ownership be changing across generations? Some Gen Zers say they are not jumping at the chance to buy a home.
I want people to stop telling me to buy a house. I don't want to buy a house right now. I don't want the responsibility of being a homeowner. I don't want that I don't care. I don't care if buying a house gives me equity, and right now with me renting, I'm paying someone else's mortgage. I don't care. I don't want a house.
I don't even know what equity means. And let's look at the numbers. Gen Z bought 18.5% of all sold homes in 2025 compared to 14.4% in 2024. But when you compare it to home ownership from older generations, 42.5% of Gen X and 44.4% of baby boomers were homeowners by the time they turned 28. Joining us to talk about it, realtor Zach Price, Lina Mejia, and Gen Zer who is not interested in buying a homeowner, Lance Bledsoe, who also isn't interested at the moment, and Jeffrey Posey, who became a homeowner at 31 years old. So, Jeffrey, let's start with you. What made you decide at 31, I need a home?
The biggest reason was I felt if I'm waiting, I'm sitting on the sideline too long. I'm ready to have my own space and make my own life. You know, when you own your own home, you can do whatever you want in space. You can have parties, you ain't gotta worry about your neighbors knocking on your door, worried about, you know, what to an extent. You don't have to worry about where your money, you own something, you put roots down. So when you put roots down, you can kind of grow quicker, you know, grow from it. All
right, Raina, you raised your hand right when you said
She's ready.
Well, I'm curious to know is like, how do you think, where did that pressure come from, do you feel like? Like, was it friends, was it parents, was it social media putting that pressure on you? Because I don't feel that pressure at all. I never in my life desired to own a home. So I'm like, where did that come from and what's the difference between us?
You got to think of it, you know, of course, everybody, the American dream and like the pressure, like, oh, like you said, the white picket fence, the house of your own. I think that's like, it's ingrained in everybody in America to want that and desire it. And I wanted it, but I also wanted it for my own sense of security for future reference. You know, if when I do want to sell it, investment purposes. I mean, the biggest pull for an American is their home. Like, the biggest wealth generator for an American is their home.
So they say.
So they say. Right now.
Lance, what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts on both of them, I don't feel like both of them not even wrong. I feel like when it comes to where you want to live at, it's really a preference thing. Like, if you want to live the American dream and own a home and live in a big house with fence and yard, that's cool. But also, if you want to live in a skyrise, penthouse, more luxurious lifestyle, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that either. I feel like she said, nobody should be pressuring each other on on where they want to live at, how they want to live, because at the end of the day, life is all about being happy. If you happy in this penthouse, in this skyrise, and you cool with that, you cool with that. If you want to have a big house, own a big house, I feel like there's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, me personally, I'm 27 years old, so right now I don't plan on owning a home. But when I get around his age, to 31.
Wait a minute now. Hold on.
He's not even old. He's not even old. He's not even
my age. Come on now.
I did talk before. I did not tell you. I said by 30, I wanted to have my own house. But if these two guys think I should own a house earlier, at the age I am now, I would like to hear some advice on that. So,
all right, Zach,
they're real estate agents. So I want to know. You're a real estate agent. I want to know.
At the end of the day, there are a lot of things that are going on with the unpredictability of the economy right now, which can factor into home ownership. But at the end of the day, you have to make the best decision for you. And home ownership is not for everybody. It does come with a certain level of responsibility and commitment that you have to abide to. However, the best thing that you can do is invest now, because as of right now, it's a buyer's market. These new construction builders are giving out incentives left and right that you can take advantage of while you can, instead of waiting and saying, damn, I should have just waited.
Because that's how you feel when you first bought your house. You was like, I should have did it earlier.
Well,
exactly, but now I'm in there.
Listen, he's a realtor. That's a very realtor thing to say right there. What I'm getting at is, like, you said it's a responsibility, yes, and I feel like when I think of a house, I don't think of like comfort, I don't think of joy, I don't think of stability, I think of responsibility, I think of stress, and that has been ingrained in my mind since I was in high school. I thought to myself, like, I don't want that life, and mind you, I grew up in houses.
So does that come from the maintenance aspect of maintaining a house?
I just feel like it's just the idea, the having to stay somewhere for so long. I feel like it's the maintenance, it's the insurance, it's like just ownership in general to me is I would so prefer to rent and
You got a car.
So you'll live in a house, but you'll just rent it. That's what you're saying.
and see the aspect of a house. If I'm in a house, I might as well. But look, I'm thinking about apartments. Okay, I'm thinking about I don't want the white picket fence. I don't want a yard. That's preference for me, yes, as you were saying.
Preference.
But it's the whole idea of if I'm gonna be in a house, why don't I have my name to it? That's the argument that I can have. It's like, I don't want my name to a house.
Well, buy the dirt. Buy the dirt. Because eventually somebody's going to buy that land. Okay. And you can be able to get your money and see your return on your investment.
That's why I asked.
Jeffrey, do you think they'll have a change of heart as they get older and old like you?
Hey, man, when you get my age, you know, when you get up there in age, you kind of settle down a little bit. But I think it comes from, the get up and go lifestyle. I mean, it kind of comes from the renting aspect of everything. You rent your music, you pay Apple Music, you rent your content, you never own anything. You can't even buy Blu-rays no more. So I think Gen Z being raised in that kind of made them more open to it. Like I'm from a transitional period where you can buy CDs. You bought minutes for your phone. Yeah. You bought CDs.
I remember that era. I remember that era too, though.
And that means like people, they're okay with renting and not owning anything, and they're comfortable with it. But you got to put skin in the game.
So much less pressure. That's a really good perspective. I didn't even think of that.
You got to think it from that area. You got to put the skin in the game. Absolutely. It might not be the structure that's worth everything in a long time, but they're not making more dirt.
All right, we're going to take a break here, and when we come back, talk about affordability. Is it even affordable for young people now? We'll be back with more Factor Uncensored in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. Some young people are just not interested in becoming a homeowner. We continue to explore the issue with our guest, Zach. Let's talk about house prices, and is it affordable for Gen Zers?
Absolutely. So the average house price right now is around $319K. So you have a multiple of different options that you can take advantage of when it comes to down payment assistance. Even the city of Houston is actually providing down payment assistance programs to help people get through the door. The ultimate goal is to obtain ownership, focus on the outcome as you own the house and move forward.
So, Raina, you were hesitant when he said it's affordable, $319. That didn't sound affordable
No,
to you?
that does not sound affordable at all.
I ain't got $319. And I know if it's cost that much, the down payment ain't gonna be a lot too. So I ain't got $319.
And I'm saying if that is the price of owning a home, and imagine what the mortgage would be. Okay, but wait, I might as well pay a luxury apartment, same mortgage, get a gym, get amenities, get maintenance whenever I want, just submit a ticket. Like, why would I opt to own a home?
Because you can have all the same amenities in your house. You can have a gym in your house. You can have a gym in your house. You can have all the things that you want into your house, and guess what? You own it. You own it.
He do got a point.
You own it. And if you work with the right realtor, you find the correct neighborhood to invest in so you can see a return in your investment over time.
Man, you can have the club in your house, man.
And they got communities that got all these amenities you're looking for. The pool, you got communities with lagoons in them, you got boats in them, they got boat launch docks. They got communities for every kind of genre you want to live in. A community that got farm on it, you can live in that neighborhood too.
But them ain't cheap though.
Explain to me this then. Why I grew up seeing millennials, the Gen X's, their struggles, their complaints, their maintenance issues, their financial issues, all these hardships of owning a home to where it has scared me in my generation.
Well, let me ask you there this. It is.
Okay.
What you have seen and experienced in life. So you're a reflection of your environment from the past.
Well, no, not no. I'm not talking about my family. I'm talking about
I mean
social
people
media,
around you. I don't
friends.
mean just your family. I mean, people around you and what you've
they
seen.
They have scared us. Yeah, of like home ownership isn't as luxurious and comfortable as it appears to be, and I feel like, just as those stats said, I predict that Gen Z will be the reason why the market does end up crashing or dramatically decreasing in the upcoming years.
But what we can't do is allow for negative narratives to influence our testimony of home ownership. Because at the end of the day, what you eat doesn't make me.
Yeah.
Okay. And everybody has a different story when it comes to home ownership.
I felt like I was in the church of real estate.
Hey. and you also can't.
So Lance, are you getting closer to turning the key?
Oh, I'm going to own a home because like I plan on starting a family, having kids, and they need a field backyard to go play on. I ain't finna have no kids, and we in this no sky rise, no penthouse, and you ain't got nowhere to go outside and play. And then you sitting in the highs and playing on the iPad, and because you ain't got nowhere outside to go. We 90 feet up in the sky, and you ain't got nowhere to go outside. I ain't finna go all the way 90 floors down and we go outside in the street. No, you finna go. You been on the game on the iPad too long. You need to go outside and play. Go to the park. Go to the pool. Go to the backyard. Go to the front yard. I been get a basketball go all there. I need all that.
Bill's character.
Bill's character. Like you saying. So now I'm going to eventually own a home, but at this moment I ain't got no kids. I'm single. I don't really care to own a home right now, but. My man right here, he's saying I should start now, so I'm going to get with him after the show.
Take Zach's number down when you're ready.
I'm going to get with him after the show.
And Jeffrey, for those, and we may have frightened a few people when we talk, that's the average price of a home in Houston. There are cheaper homes out there in the suburbs that people can buy that they can afford. $100,000, $200,000. Does that help, Raina?
I mean, Houston City, you can drive, you can buy.
That's not helping at all.
It's not like $100,000 doesn't have to come out of your pocket.
It's not even the price. It's the it's the stability. It's the having to stay in one place until you put your house on the market, and then no one's gonna buy it, and then all these things that you have to think about. I feel like, and back to the conversation we were trying to have earlier, was that social media now glamorizes this like get up and go life. They glamorize glamorize travel, they glamorize soft life, and just kind of like doing whatever you want when you want. And that is what I am attracted to, but that is, I think, what my majority of my generation is.
But yeah, and that too, because we kind of like in the same generation, but also too, I can say like to our generation, they really don't know what they want. They only want it because that's what they see on the internet. But no one like.
Yeah,
it's all a preference. But do you really want that, or you really just want to live in a sky rise or a penthouse because that's what you see on the internet?
And
you see all your favorite rappers, your influencers, or the people who look like they got money but really don't in all this stuff. Do you really want that, or you just want that because that's what you see on the internet? What do you really want for yourself?
He's talking directly to the people.
Exactly. To live a soft life, you got to have a hard life. So you got to do the hard work first.
Yeah, we're not the age either that we're having kids and having families. So that's not even a conversation right now because we aren't the age. Now, will it change when we become that age? You said you want to have a house, what, in your 30s? Like,
yeah,
we're not there yet.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
So it could change. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's why I'm gonna get retired myself. Because hey, they call me Unc Few. You know, I'm Unc and I'm
y'all
nephew.
get Zach's number when you're ready to
you know what I'm saying? Y'all got me. So I'm getting there. So yeah, you ain't lying. It's coming close.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. Still ahead tonight, the classic film Set It Off, reimagined for the stage right here in Houston. The show set to arrive in our city. We'll hear from the stars bringing those characters back to life. Keep it here. And welcome back to the Factor Uncensored. An exciting stage play is in Houston, March 28th through the 29th. And you know it already from the popular movie Set It Off. And we have two of the stars here with us, Felicia Pearson and Sky. Glad to have you both here on the Factor Uncensored. So you're bringing Set It Off. We know it as a movie. Was there any nervousness about bringing this to the stage, Felicia?
Just a little bit, you know what I mean? I had to, adapt Cleo and make Cleo myself. So, you know.
Originally played by Queen Latifah in the movie.
Yep. But Queen Latifah, she did an amazing job. I couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Do it the way she did it. So I just did it my way, you know.
And of course, you bring that realism, though.
Yes, sir.
You know, from The Wire. We all remember that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Sky, you know, was there any hesitation in doing this role for you?
Oh, no, absolutely not. Well, I'm Ursula in the show, so,
Right.
you know, a little bit, but no. Being a supporting character.
And for those really quick who don't remember, Ursula had the blonde hair. Queen Latifah's girlfriend.
Yes, Queen Latifah, Cleo's girlfriend, yes. So for that reason, it was a little bit like, but to be a supporting character in a show, a movie, you know, like this, I love it. Like, I grew up on the movie, and all the girls are so great in the show, so I'm just glad to be a part.
Any changes, any tweaks to the stage play that we may remember different from the movie where you guys put your own spin on it? Not talking about acting skills, but story-wise.
Well, the story is the story. Jacarius did not change the story. However, there are little moments that you do to make a live show, live entertainment. So for that, yes, but it's very reminiscent of the movie. So.
And what can people expect? Are you excited for this production and what they will see when they come to this play at the 713 Hall, March 28th through the 29th?
I like how you put that,
There's a reason you're here.
You're just going to get every emotion, you know what I mean? You're going to cry, you're going to laugh, you know what I mean? And like the past few shows, we had the audience, don't do that. Why would you? They so engaged in, you know what I mean, into the play. It's like, you know what I mean, we be on stage like, oh man, please be quiet.
So you don't feed from that energy. You want to focus, though.
Yes.
Or do you?
No. We both all of it. Like how the audience is, how their emotions is, our emotions is running wild too on stage. So whatever they feed off of, we feed off of.
When you're doing the play, do you actually see the audience or you just hear them? You don't really focus on them.
I see them.
What are they doing?
I see them. They reciting lines from The Wire or whatever else. I mean, like, come on, man. You here to see Set It Off. How my hair look, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. But they just so engaged, and I love it. You know what I'm saying? The crowd. You know what I mean? It's just amazing, man.
And what can we expect next? Obviously, we're focused on Set It Off, but what can we expect next from Snoop in the future?
My life story. Me and Ed Burns have that, a series coming for my life story. Second book. Just wherever God spin me, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't even know I supposed to been doing plays now. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, wherever God takes me, and I'm there.
And where you are right now in your life, does it feel like a true blessing that you did not expect?
It's always a blessing. It's a blessing every time I wake up. You know what I mean? Above ground, you know. But yes, it's always a blessing, and especially in this you know, this world. Everything is just so mad right now. But you know, every time you get a job is a blessing. You know? So, yeah.
And Sky, what's next for you after Set It Off?
My first album is coming out. I know I've been dropping singles, so Houston, y'all know that, but I have a full project.
And I've heard all of them with your mom.
Yes. So stay tuned.
All right. Once again, we have with us Snoop and Sky.
Yes.
And they will be in Set It Off at 713 Music Hall, March 28th through the 29th. Make sure you check it out. Tickets are still available. And we'll be back with more Factor Uncensored in just a moment. All righty, this is what I've been waiting for the last year, Well, longer than that, because it's been in the works for several years. But before we go tonight, I had to point out to Factor producer Sonora Harris, who's just blinded by Beyonce. She doesn't see any other artists out there besides Beyonce, and we understand we don't want any trouble from the Beehive. But the hype is real for the new movie, Michael. Of course, we're talking about Michael Jackson. She wrote It's Building. It's at a crescendo. It's way up there. Flash mobs of dancers recreating the King of Pop's dance moves were spotted in New York City and, of course, Los Angeles. We need to do it in Houston, but let's take a look in Los Angeles. Okay, I could have did a little bit better than that. He deserves better than that. You know, I think Sonora pulled the worst video. Just to sabotage me. She's a saboteur with headsets on in the back. The new Michael biopic is just weeks away and tickets are already on sale. It'll hit the theaters April 24th. So make sure you go see it. Make sure you check out the Factor's new YouTube page at Isiah Factor Uncensored. And of course, you can follow us on social media at Instagram, X, and Facebook. And don't forget to download the Fox Soul app, where you can catch the Factor Uncensored, plus much more. And shout out to Robert, who's directing for the first time. Great job, Robert. Great job. There'll be something extra not in your check.
Welcome to the Nightcap.